Hey, how's it going everybody? Welcome back to Aussie Fish Keeping. So in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at why your aquarium plants might be dying. So most of the time you'll find your aquarium plants start to die in your aquarium when the water lacks nutrients or there's nutrient deficiencies. So there is quite a few nutrient deficiencies that are very common in a lot of people's aquariums, and we're going to be talking about a couple of ways you can resolve it and identify what deficiency you have in your plants. Okay, so we're just going to jump straight into today's video, and the first nutrient deficiency that may be killing your aquarium plants is a nitrogen deficiency. So a nitrogen deficiency generally comes around in your aquarium if you are doing too many water changes. So we're talking about routine weekly water changes that will generally strip your aquarium of nitrates, which obviously are an essential part of your plant's development. So this is actually why some people ghost feed their tank when they first set it up. So what this pretty much is feeding their tank even though they don't have any fish in there. And what this will do, this will break down and obviously contribute to the nitrogen cycle, which will boost the nitrogen levels in your aquarium and help aquarium plants grow. So a lot of people actually think that nitrogen is completely bad for your aquarium and you shouldn't have it in there at all, and that's just completely false, especially if you have a heavily planted tank or a tank with a medium to sort of large amount of plants in there. They really need that nitrogen to grow, and it's super beneficial. So if you do find that you're losing nitrogen from your water column, you can just let your water sit for a little while. Don't do too many water changes and just keep checking to see how your nitrogen's going. But besides that, you can also get nitrogen boosting supplements to put in your aquarium, which are also very good, especially for planted tanks. So if you do have a nitrogen deficiency in your tank, you will start to notice your leaves of your plants actually turning a more pale yellowish sort of color, and they'll slowly die off from there. But yeah, as long as you're testing your water regularly and you're staying on top of your nitrogen levels, you shouldn't find it affects your plants too much, and it generally only really affects the older leaves. But of course, if you really do lack a lot of nitrogen in your water, you will find your plants just completely shrivel up and die. So moving on to another nutrient deficiency in your water that may be causing your plants to die is an iron deficiency. So an iron deficiency in your water can cause your plants to produce less chlorophyll in their new shoots, and instead the newer leaves will grow in a more pale sort of light green or even yellowy to sort of whitish color, and sometimes they can get abnormal like colorations or spottings on them. So if you do notice your plants growing sort of abnormal colored leaves from their new shoots, then that is most likely an iron deficiency in your water. And there's not many ways you can go about fixing an iron deficiency besides using a fertilizer with a lot of iron in it. So I would definitely recommend getting a good fertilizer if you do have a heavily planted tank, or even just getting an iron supplement. I think you can get separate ones if you do just find the iron deficiency really affecting your aquarium. But besides that, like I said before, there's no other real way you can incorporate a higher concentration of iron into your water. So moving on to the next deficiency that can really harm your plants is a potassium deficiency. So this deficiency in particular will really target plants like Java fern or Anubias that really thrive in potassium high environments. And if you do have a potassium deficiency in your aquarium, you'll notice small like holes in your leaves starting to form, and some of them can be rimmed with any sort of darker coloration. And sort of similar to a nitrogen deficiency as well, the leaves can change color and turn more of a yellowy sort of brown color. So potassium in a plant helps with the movement of nutrients, waters, and sugars throughout the plant. And like I said before, plants like Java fern and Anubias need a lot of potassium to survive. And again, like the iron deficiency, there isn't really much naturally that you can do to increase the potassium levels in your aquarium. So if you do end up discovering that you have a potassium deficiency in your water, you are going to need to get a fertilizer that covers that. But yeah, besides a good fertilizer, there's not much else you can really do to help boost your potassium levels in your aquarium. Moving on to another nutrient deficiency that can affect your plants is a phosphate deficiency. So phosphate deficiency is more of an uncommon nutrient deficiency to find in your aquarium, just because a lot of fish foods and a lot of aquarium products in general have high phosphate levels in them. Although there are a lot of aquarium products out there that prevent algae growth that have phosphate absorbing attributes about them, and they can absorb a load of the phosphates out of the water, obviously starving your plants of phosphates. But yeah, if you do have a phosphate deficiency in your water, you will find that your plants, much like the nitrogen deficiency, will start to turn a more pale sort of yellowish color. And this is most of the time when you'll find algae starts to grow on the leaves. And most people actually think it's the algae that's smothering the leaves that's actually killing the plant, but it ends up being the phosphate levels dropping in your aquarium, which actually are killing your plants. So if you ever find your plants start to slow down in growth or just never really take off in general, it is actually probably because you do have a phosphorus deficiency in your water and your plants cannot get the nutrients they need to grow effectively. So to treat your phosphate deficiency in your aquarium, you can actually sort of ghost feed the tank or overfeed the tank by using flake food. So it may say on the back of the container or packet, but a lot of preserved like flake foods generally do have a organic phosphate level in them, and you can use that to your advantage to boost the phosphate levels in your aquarium. Although if you don't want to do that, you can also get fertilizers that have phosphate in them, and you can add that to your water to obviously boost the phosphate levels as well. Honestly, I would probably go for the flake food first, just to see if it works before you go blow 15-20 bucks on a bottle of fertilizer. But whatever you really want to do, to be honest. But yeah, if you do find your aquarium plants slow down in growth and their older leaves start to die off completely, then you will most likely have a phosphate deficiency in your aquarium. Moving on to another unusual nutrient deficiency that can kill your plants is calcium deficiency. So calcium deficiency generally comes around in your aquarium with a low water hardness, or when your water hardness decreases, and pretty much you will notice your leaves starting to sort of form weird shapes or get twisted and sort of crinkle up, and that's when you have a calcium deficiency in your water. So if you're using something like RO or reverse osmosis water, you will generally find that you can get a calcium deficiency in your water. So when you're doing water changes, you may need to add minerals back into it. But besides that, if you are just using normal conditioned tap water, then you should find that you shouldn't really get any calcium deficiencies. Although if you do, you can use stuff like crushed coral in a filter or even in the substrate, and that will boost the water hardness and obviously add more calcium into the water. Or you can, like I was saying before, use a mineral in your RO water like Equilibrium by Seachem, which you pretty much just put in before you do a water change in the new water, and that will obviously add the minerals back into it and boost the calcium in that water. And when you add that into your new tank, your plants won't be affected by a calcium deficiency. But yeah, with that being said, I hope you all enjoyed today's video. I hope it helped you learn more about why your plants may be dying, and I hope you can figure it out soon, and hopefully you can get your plants nice and healthy again. But yeah, like I said before, I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you all in that next video.